Okay, welcome to part 7 of the Agency Accession course, Appointment Booking Foundations. I am very excited for this episode since, I can tell you right now, this part in this video is probably the most important part in actually booking appointments. Let's move on. Today's agenda, we have 2 different foundations I want to go over. The first one is beliefs and the other one is scientific testing. Also, you know the drill, subscribe and follow. All the links will be in the description. Also join the Facebook group for support and also a community. That will also be linked in the description down below. And don't forget to share the course. Just really want to spread this out there and let people know. So please, if you find value in this, go ahead and share it with someone that you might think can actually use the info here. And important, if you want to succeed, watch the entire video. Don't skip, don't fast forward. And for real this time, as I mentioned before, I think this is probably the most important thing when it comes down to actually booking appointments. And disclaimer, it's nothing fancy. It's not some software, not some certain tool I will show you. This will be foundations, so basically theory and sort of mindset. And it might not sound that interesting and exciting, but again, if you truly take what I say here and sort of analyze what I say, and think about it and also implement that into your outreach strategy, you will book appointments. There is really no way to not succeed if you truly do it this way. However, it won't be shiny, it won't be super, super fast. But again, I hope you can understand at this point that starting a business and actually getting results, usually it doesn't go very, very easy. It can go fast, but it's never easy. You really need to put in the work. But I've talked too much already in the intro, so let's just move on. Okay, so here we are. Appointment Booking Foundations. So we will basically get right into it. And I have this resource here. This resource will be linked down below if you want to take a look at this yourself. So right into Foundation 1, Belief. So if you are watching this module and have followed the course this far, your paradigm, and let me first explain what paradigm is. So paradigm is simply your beliefs, your how you think, and sort of your perspective of how the world is, simply said. So again, if you're watching this module and follow this course this far, your paradigm around appointment booking and sales is probably that it's hard for you to book appointments and close clients right now. So again, in this case, it simply means that your paradigm, you have sort of adopted this mentality that this is hard for you right now. Because if you would think that it was easy, you probably wouldn't invest your time into this course. And that's sort of the main problem I want to help you solve. And you probably aren't the biggest fan of doing outreach because it feels like it's not working and won't result in anything. You might already be doing a ton of outreach, but you don't see any results. And you, of course, get discouraged by this, which is totally normal. And this then leads to you forming bad beliefs about outreach. You might think that as long as you get the right strategy and the right email copy, all your problems will go away and you will fill your calendar automatically. This leads you to always be on the hunt for new strategies and email copies, always thinking that you eventually will find the one secret method that will solve all your problems. And this sort of, I call it search for the secrets, will continue until you realize that this constant search is the one thing that is keeping you from getting what you want. And here's a really good quote, just want to mention. So we don't have business problems. We have personal problems that reflect in our business. So now let me ask you, how can your personal problems be the reason why you're not getting appointments and sales for your business? Let me explain. Most of the time, the problems a business owner is experiencing are not because of the business itself. The business model is most of the time perfectly fine, and not only business model, it can go also for the strategy you're using to do outreach on, the sales method, whatever. That sort of strategy, tactics, and model is most of the time perfectly fine. But the thing that is stopping the business from growing is the business owner's personal skills and paradigm. Let that sink in for a moment. So you are the sum of your beliefs. How you experience reality depends entirely on your own identity and how you see yourself. So I'm gonna say that slowly one more time just so you can really understand. You are the sum of your beliefs. Alright? How you experience reality depends entirely on your own identity and how you see yourself. And what does this mean then? For example, if your beliefs around appointment booking are that it's hard, it doesn't work, and you're just pissing people off by contacting them by email, cold calling, whatever, there is absolutely no chance that you'll do everything you can to book appointments if your internal beliefs are that your outreach doesn't work. So it might sound a bit wishy-washy, but it's really quite simple because, like, as I said before, everyone is acting according to their beliefs, because if not, you wouldn't really want to do it, because like everybody has beliefs around what's right, what's wrong, and we generally don't want to do what is wrong, or if we do it, we feel really, really bad. So again, let's say you always think that if I send out these emails to these prospects, they will be annoyed and they won't like me, they won't like any outreach too. There is just no chance that you will actually sort of try your best to actually book these appointments, because you will always constantly think, I'm just annoying these people and they don't want to hear from me, I'm just being annoying. So yeah, and your brain has associated, if this is the case for you around appointment booking, your brain has associated so much pain with doing outreach and getting rejected, so it does everything it can to make you avoid that pain at any cost, creating faulty beliefs such as outreach doesn't work. And this is very, very interesting, because of course our brain usually does stuff that we aren't aware of. So again, in this example, if you have done a ton of outreach, you've done so many cold calls, you've sent so many emails, and nothing seems to be working, you of course probably won't feel very good about that, because who wants to put in a lot of effort and don't see any results? Nobody wants to do that. So if that's the case for you, it's probably the case that your brain has started to associate this pain with the outreach, which means that your brain will start to come up with excuses for not doing the outreach, which is totally normal. Like, why would our brain and our body want to do something that is associated with pain? It's very, very normal. It's just evolutionary, because the human always wants to feel comfort, because that's usually been the best way before, which might not be the case if you actually want to grow, and in this case actually want to grow your business. And yeah, this, like, of course you are not aware of it at the moment that this is happening, but your brain is doing this, so it's creating these faulty beliefs, such as outreach doesn't work, there's no point in doing it, why am I even spending time on this? And you can probably relate to finding some new outreach tactic online, and you try it for some days. You don't see any results, you move on to find something new and just repeat the same process. And this is the sort of search I was talking about earlier. You're just constantly looking for the new shiny thing and thinking that, yeah, if I just find a new thing, this will solve all my problems. And the reason why you're acting like this is that you don't truly believe in the outreach system you're using, so you don't even give it enough time and effort to have a chance at working. It sort of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But what is the cure for this horrible disease? The only thing you need to do is stick with a method long enough until you see some results, and you will eventually reassociate outreach with something that works and gives you results. Because, yeah, as I mentioned before, if you are associating so much pain with this activity that actually is, in the beginning, of course, and most of the time, is the most important activity, outreach and getting appointments, and if you're associating so much pain with this, of course it's hard. But what I'm telling you, there is hope. So if you just stick to it, I know it might feel very, very painful now. You not want to do it. Your brain is creating all form of like resistance towards doing this, which is again normal. But now when you might be aware that this is just your brain trying to avoid pain, it might be easier to understand this and just continue and hold out until you actually see some results. Because again, usually outreach is just a numbers game, and whatever tactic you're using, give it enough time and you will probably see some results. Given that it's a good tactic from the beginning and you sort of have used your common sense to validate this sort of tactic. So yeah, and the reason this is so important to understand is because I can show you all the best tactics to get appointments and sort of all different strategies, certain tools, certain softwares, all those shiny things. But if you don't truly believe in your core that it actually works, you will never see any results. Because again, you won't do what is necessary to actually book those appointments. Just an example that popped up in my head. Let's say you're doing emails and you're getting positive responses, or you might not see them as positive because they might have a question, they might sound annoying to you, but in reality, they are just quite straightforward and asking questions about the service, what you're doing, or what's in it for them. Then if you are responding to these responses and feeling like, and you're feeling quite like you are annoying them and don't want to take their time, you won't sort of give the best responses and actually want them to book an appointment with you. So that's just an example. It might not be the best example, but it just popped on in my head. So my advice to you is that in this moment, accept the pain and just hold on long enough until you see results and you won't feel any pain anymore. I know, and I promise you, it's literally that simple. And I know it's like easy for me to say now because I'm booking a ton of appointments myself. It's working great for us. But however, for you, you might think this is not true. And it's easy for me to say, but trust me, if you just give it your all, if you do choose a good tactic, which I will show you later on in this program, what you actually can do to book appointments, and you actually try and give it enough time, you will see results. And the moment you are willing to face the pain and just charge towards it is the moment you will start seeing results. So it's that simple. And that is basically it for this first foundation. And even though I haven't been speaking for that long, around 11 minutes, I really, really want to sort of stress that this is very, very important. And if I were you, I would sort of rewatch this a couple times to really make sure I actually understand it and actually can implement this in the future. All right. Moving on to foundation 2, scientific testing. So later on in the course, we will set up your own appointment booking systems. And for you to get any results and be able to create copy and scripts or messaging in general that convert, it is very important that you understand this foundation. As an example, I will talk about creating an email copy in this specific example, but this approach can be used for creating all kinds of stimuli. And stimuli is think of that as messaging, like either a script, it can be an email copy, a DM message, whatever. Right now I have for myself an email copy that is booking a ton of appointments for my own agency. I could give it to you and you would be able to model it to your niche and get results. But I really hope that this course will at least reach a couple of 100 people. And what do you think would happen if I were to give that copy to all the people going through this course? The reason my email copy is working for me is because it's unique. I have sort of tested it and came up with this version that is working. It stands out from my competitors and resonates with my target audience. If, let's say, at least 100 other people started to copy my exact email copy, the effectiveness will quickly disappear since now the audience is used to this specific type of messaging. And it's very, very hard to stand out when everybody sounds the same. And this is basically the exact reason why it doesn't work to just copy scripts and copy you find on the internet, because guess what? There are probably thousands of other people doing the exact same thing as you, resulting in that messaging getting worn out. So now I hope you understand why it's not a good idea for me to just give you a copy to use. It will be the simple way and it could work for a couple people, but in a short amount of time, it will just stop working. So the goal is for me to teach you how to create your own winning copy, because that's literally the only way to succeed long term. And here is basically where I want to introduce you to this scientific method. And this picture here, it's very simple, but it just explains the model and the point. So you might have heard scientific method and done that in school or whatever before. But if we try to take a look at this model and implement it in the business, in especially outreach, it gets very, very interesting. And again, if you truly follow this and do it properly, there is no way to succeed given enough time. And so I'm going to explain. First of all, the first step is really to create a hypothesis. So again, this will be an email copy example. So I will stick with that example now. So let's say I am starting a completely new agency. I am targeting a new niche I don't have any experience in. I haven't done any email outreach to them before, so I don't really know exactly what is working. So the best thing I can do is I can make a hypothesis in the beginning which is basically my best guess to see what is working. Yeah, that is what I can do. Then after that, so I will just briefly go through this and then explain more down here. But yeah, when I've done the hypothesis, sort of came up with the email copy I want to test, I test it and then see, does the metrics and the data, like, am I satisfied with the result? If not, I need to go back and redo my hypothesis. If yes, we just run the system over and over again till we book a ton of appointments, really. So that it's quite simple, actually. So yeah, now we go into more depth. So first, construct a hypothesis. And yeah, again, this will be an email example, and specifically what we call Loom Mastery example. It's sort of a system that I will explain later in the course. So let me just briefly explain the system. So basically what we do is that we're sending out cold emails, which is quite normal. However, what stands out is that in each email, we have a personalized video towards the prospect. And we can actually track the different metrics, like we can track how many people actually view the video, we track how many positive responses we get, and we track how many appointments are coming in. So those are the three main metrics we're looking at. So yeah, that is relevant to sort of understand this example here. So yeah, again, if we take a look at the first step, and this is probably where most of you are at, or at least will be after this video, when you sort of want to create your own messaging that is a winning messaging. So yeah, here you are making your best guess at what different variables in your email will work. An example of these variables can be the subject line, your offer, and your call to action. When starting, we don't have any data, so we can only guess what combination of these variables will work. So the first step is really to analyze, so let's say again, email copy. We want to create a good email copy. So there are different parts in the email copy. And yeah, we have subject line, which can have an effect, of course, on like open rates and stuff. We have the offer, which is probably very, very important in the actual email itself. And also a call to action. Of course, there are more variables, but let's just take these ones as an example. So you create one subject line, you create one your offer, and you also create your call to action here. And just put that together in the email copy. And that is sort of the version 1. Yeah, version 1 in testing. All right. Yeah, when you've done your best guess, you basically move on to testing. And yeah, you do this through an experiment. So to properly test the hypothesis you have constructed, there are a couple of things we need to establish. So examples again, but these are quite good and a good framework to follow yourself. So first of all, how many emails we will send out for this test? We will send out 100, 1,000. It's up to you. Normally, I would think like around 300-400. 400 is probably a good number to aim at. What metric we will optimize for? And so yeah, like again, I mentioned we have different metrics. So in this example, we have like what we call video view rate. We have positive reply rate, and then lastly, appointment booking rate. So of course, the most important one is appointment booking rate. But to actually optimize and get to that, there might be some like prior steps we actually need to optimize for before, because it's very, very hard to say like in the first step, I want to optimize for appointment booking rate. Yeah, of course you want, but there's so many variables in place you have to optimize for. So usually it's easier to start with something less, or of less importance, I should say. All right. What the KPI is. So when we sort of decide the metric, so again, let's take the Loom Master example. So as I mentioned, we can actually track how many people actually view the video we send out to them. And that is a really, really good metric to track, because how we think about that whole system is that we, of course, again, we want to optimize for appointments, but to get to that point, we first want to optimize people actually clicking on the video, because the email copy doesn't really tell the prospect that much. The main goal for the email copy is just to get people to actually click on the video. When they have clicked on the video, we tell them more, we explain more about the offer and how it's very beneficial for them and why they should book an appointment. So that is sort of the first step, and that can be the example for this. We want to optimize for video view rate. So we want to get as many people actually clicking on the video as possible. So yeah, that is what we've done here. So just to summarize, we've decided we want to send out 400 emails in this test. We will optimize for video view rate. And we think that the KPI is 20%. We think that's a good range, that 20% of the people we reach out to actually click on the video. That is what we want to achieve, all right? And KPI, by the way, just means key performance indicator. So what time period we will give the test before we analyze the data? And this ties back to the first point. So how many emails we will send out for this test. And again, like we will explain, of course, the process of actually the system itself later on. But just as an example, we send out the main email first, and then we have some short follow-ups after that scheduled in. And we only want to analyze the data when all the follow-ups has been sent, because if only a couple of them has been sent out, there's like this test is still going, and we can't really know for sure if that data is accurate. So yeah, let's say for this example, 2 weeks we might calculate that all the follow-ups has been sent out for all the different 400 prospects. Okay, then what we do, we create version 1 of the email, and again, right now we use subject line, offer, and call to action. There will probably be more variables, but just as an example, we create one subject line, call that version 1. We create version 1 offer and version 1 call to action. And all this together creates the version 1 of the email copy itself. Because remember, these are all parts of the email copy. And it's very important that you write these down and just keep track of it so you know. And then when you have done that, it's time to... Yeah, this is just a saying. It's I'm not sure if I pronounce it right. Ceteris paribus, which basically means all other things being equal. So let me explain. So it's very, very important when you do tests such as these that you actually keep all the other things in the test and they're exactly the same. Because let's say you focus on these three and you do the test, and let's say in the middle of the test you realize that your email starts to land in the spam folder. Then that test is not really, the data won't be accurate, because halfway through the test you start to land in spam, and the data won't actually show what these sort of variables can do given the right conditions. So yeah, just be very, very, this is very important that you keep everything the same, because then if you start to change things in the middle, you won't really know what the data is for those original variables. Okay, yeah. Next, run test, simple. And after that, log the data 100% accurately. You can either do this manually or just use certain tools. Again, I will show you later how you actually log the different data. Okay, when that is done, we have sort of made the test. The 2 weeks have gone by. It's time to analyze the data. So is it a success or no? Now you should have some data to analyze. And yeah, we will take a look at what is the conversion rate for the selected metric. Remember, we chose video view rate and we want a 20% conversion rate. Let's say we got 15. And yeah, then we took a look at the KPI. That was 20, which means that we are below the actual KPI. So yeah, here if you are above or very, very close to the KPI, this means we have achieved our target for the metric. So let's say we were at exactly 20 or maybe 21. This will be very good because we completed what we wanted to do. We have reached it. It's awesome. We can move on to the next, which means that we have sort of we have optimized the video view rate this far, which means that we can just move on, maybe focus on positive reply rate or appointment booking rate in the future. So when you do this, move on to the next stimulus and make a new test to optimize the next metric. However, let's say again we got like 15 or even 10. This means your hypothesis didn't work as planned. However, this is not bad. So congratulations, now you actually know what doesn't work. And when this happens, you simply define which of the variables you created in step 1 and which are the actually most important ones. Pick one of the variables that you think have the biggest impact on results. So if we just do this and go back to these variables, I probably think that the offer has the biggest impact in this example, which it probably has most of the time. And that is the one I want to change. Change this variable and only this variable, and then repeat step 1. So yeah, again, ceteris paribus, you want to change one thing at a time, because if we start to change multiple things at once, if things go to shit or if it starts working, we won't really know exactly what change actually led to this. So it's very important you do one change at a time, all right? But yeah, that simply is. And again, if you just repeat this over and over and over and over again. Give it enough time. It's simple math. Like if you have a certain percentage of succeeding the first time, if you just repeat that over and over again, you will eventually succeed. And by time goes by and you have more sales calls, you will learn more what the niche wants. You can learn more what type of messaging actually your niche like and resonates with. It will just even get better as well. Yeah, that's basically it. And note, just a side note here, let's say we decided to optimize for VVR, video view rate, in our test. If at the end of the test we don't end up within KPI for VVR, but end up in KPI for ABR, change nothing. So as I said before, of course, ABR is the most important metric. And if, let's say, this probably won't happen, but let's just say we do a test and land, we get a good ABR rate. We're booking a ton of appointments, but we might not be in VVR. You might be tempted to actually redo the test and optimize the VVR. But the dangerous thing about that is because as soon as you are messing with the metrics, you are always at risk at fucking up the metrics further down in the line. So yeah, you might think that you will double your ABR automatically by doubling your VVR. That is most of the time not the case. So if you have a system that is producing the desired outcome, don't fuck with it. Starting to change things in a working system will most of the time lead to worse results. Just leave it as it is. If it's working, don't touch it, just leave it. All right. Yeah, that's basically it. As I mentioned, it's not a super long video, but I really recommend that you actually go back and watch this until you really understand it and can actually implement it. Because again, I truly think this is the most important thing to understand when actually doing outreach and actually booking appointments for your agency especially. So yeah, that's it.